about a bit of fun, did you ever cause any pranks with your voice acting skills? Because I was very fortunate enough to meet somebody who actually went to school with you, and they informed me about a prank that you may or may not have pulled on a phone call.
This is a bit sneaky, isn't it?
Well, it's already been out there for a Q&A, so if you're comfortable sharing,
well, I'd be a lot more comfortable if you tell me who the person was that...
It was. My brain is leaving. My brain, apparently, is gone.
Was it a female?
No, it was. Hang on. Let me get up the name of the person. I did tell you beforehand I had some really, really big questions for you this time.
And it was a school era?
It was Ian Beattie.
Oh, Ian Beattie?
Yes. So he was in Game of Thrones, and during his Q&A, he told me about a phone call that you made.
Yeah, he's a troublemaker, isn't he? He's a trouble. I'm gonna have a word with him next time I see him. Yeah, I mean, I think the one that got me into the most trouble was pretending that I was a driving school in Larne, which is, I went to school in Belfast, and boarding school, and one of my contemporaries, I won't say her name, but she had a driving test later that week, and of course she'd been using all the cars from the driving school, and I phoned her up one day and says, "Hello, is that whoever? It's Mr. Cruikshank from the driving school here. We don't have a car for your driving test on Thursday, so you're going to have to find another one. You're going to have to provide your own car for the test." And of course she just went. I think the first thing she was burst into tears. I thought, no, this has gone too far. I thought she might sort of be a bit reasonable and sort of say, "Oh well, yeah, let me have a think about it." But of course, no, she just burst into tears immediately, and that was the one I remember the most. And then when I admitted it was me, yeah, she wasn't very pleased.
I'll go on to a bit more, less nosy one now. So what was it like going on to Red Dwarf, and was like auditioning for Rimmer, and what was it like to get the part of Rimmer? It's a pretty simple one there.
Well, I remember auditioning for in London, auditioning for both Rimmer and Lister, and there was a group of actors there, and I don't think any, Craig or Danny weren't there. It was some other guys, I can't remember who it was now, but we just read through, and I remember reading for Rimmer and Lister, so that was the kind of weird thing, and I felt I could probably do. I didn't feel that Rimmer was necessarily the role for me. I just felt, I quite like both roles, So, the vibe I got back was probably Rimmer's, maybe kind of the kind of guy, you fit with best. And then, and I knew Rob and Doug and Paul Jackson from doing the Jasper Carrot show, so I knew them well, and Spitting Image, of course. So I didn't know what was going to come of it. And then we got news that they'd gone with two other actors. And then, while you sort of take rejection, as you have to do in showbiz, suddenly, out of the blue, they said, "Actually, we changed our mind. We want you to be Rimmer and Craig to be Lister." And I thought, well, great, this is exactly what I wanted, to sort of get away from doing impersonations of public figures. I didn't really want my career to go down the Mike Yarwood avenue. So here was a chance to do, to be a sort of character actor, comedy character actor. So good. I was jolly happy, but there was that hiatus where we thought we hadn't got the part.
Wow, I didn't know that. No, you told me that you'd gone for Lister, but I didn't know that. That's really interesting. Thank you.
What about us not getting the?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Learn new things every day. So I'll ask one more question, and then I'll open it out to the audience. So, would there be any advice that you could give to people aspiring to be actors?
Well, yeah, I I sort of say this quite a lot, really, but it's worth saying again. I would, if you're aspiring to go into the business, try and sort of say yes to everything. Try and get as much different experiences, even if you think, dancing is not my thing. Give it a whirl. Do it, because you never know at what point, if you get your dream part and the producers want you for that part, there might be a bit of dancing in it somewhere along the line. So, and singing's the same, and, parts that you never think you'd want to do, plays, film, TV, all sorts of, try and get as much as you can. Or even, being supporting artists, just walk on, just, really pack out as much as you can with as many different people as you can, and, keep in touch with everyone that you're working with, because networking, it's a networking industry, particularly these days, I think. So, yeah, say yes to everything.
Brilliant, thank you. So I will open it out to the audience now. Do we have any question out in the audience today?
What was it like working with Craig Charles and Danny on Red Dwarf set?
Oh, very difficult. No, it wasn't. I mean, Craig, Danny, Robert, all the Red Dwarf family. We've been doing it since 1987, and that's testament, I think, to how what a working relationship we have. It's kind of got better and better and better as the chemistry has cemented over 3.5 decades. I mean, when we first started working together, we were all in our 20s, so we're young, ambitious, could be a little bit fractious, a little bit, the ego might get a little bit ahead of each other, And then when we're in our 30s, we sort of mature a bit, kind of, some say do your best work. I'm not sure that's completely true. 40s the same, started to become family men, started to mature a bit. And then 50s and 60s, so, we're, and now we're like a little union, we're sort of like a solidarity, and they come up and say, we want you to do this, and we say, should we do it? No, we don't, we're not like that. But, they do ask, quite a lot, and we've got to look at ourselves and say, this is going to be tough, but we'll do it. So, it's brilliant work. Craig has got a, photographic memory, very annoying, because he can learn the script like in an afternoon, and it takes 5 days later I'm still stumbling over the lines, and Danny, I mean, just a one-off completely. He's a man who likes to rehearse like meticulously, and that is something that I've taken from him. Sort of even an entrance into a room before you've actually said a word there's so many little moments that you can get, and Danny is very, very thorough when it comes to all that. And wonderful guys. Robert, absolute genius, such a funny guy, and to do Crichton for, as he does, is just to wear all that rubber and still be amazing and funny and brilliant is something else. So all three of them, Norman as well, Norman and Hattie, have been. Norman is so funny. I've done a tour with Norman in the past, such a funny guy, naturally funny, occasionally grumpy, but I think we all are after a certain period of time. Hattie, lovely lady, funny, and of course Doug, the genius behind Red Dwarf. He quiet man, quiet guy, but I mean that's where all the bedrock of the comedy comes from. So as a tight family, who's been together for so long, it's just been absolutely brilliant. So I've elaborated on your question, but I include all the posse as probably all that lot, that whole lot.
Do we have any more questions?
If you had to pick a least favourite role you've played, what would it be?
If I had to pick the least favourite, you got me there. It's a tricky one. The least. I try to avoid playing roles I don't like. The least favourite role I've ever played. my first answer was Leave It With Me, but that's a bit of a cop-out, isn't it, really? Probably my least favourite role was a stage role that I did in 1991 in a play called Totally Foxed. And we called it Totally Something Else. Because a stage play is hard work, and I'm not a natural stage play person, because doing TV, you want to do something a few times and then move on. Whereas in a play, you've got to do something every night, sometimes twice a day, with matinees and stuff. And we had some really hot stage actors there. I say hot meaning proper trained stage actors who, keep on your back. And the role I had was the motor of the show, a bit like Britus is in British Empire. But he's the character who had the energy could not flag for 1 second. And after a while that became quite tough, So, the play I think was flawed, to be honest. That's. I hope that's answered your question. That was my least favourite.
Do we have any more questions?
What was your most favourite outfit to wear on the set of Red Dwarf?
Sorry, I didn't quite get that.
What was your favourite outfit to wear on the set of Red Dwarf?
What was your favourite outfit?
My favourite outfit to wear on the set of Red Dwarf, I think, would probably be the Angels outfit in Demons and Angels. Because the Demons outfit was so uncomfortable, it was a relief to wear the Angels outfit, which was just floaty sort of a robe, wasn't it, really? And I had my boxers on underneath, and that was I was a babbling brook, where I was as the demon, I was a gushing stream of torment, So yeah, that was probably the most comfortable. Of all the main Rimmer outfits, though, the most comfortable, strangely enough, was the very first one, the fatigues, because that's just a normal, comfortable, ordinary clothes. The other outfits that were sort of purpose built or made for Rimmer were they're okay, but you had to remain straight, and they were Ace was okay, but yeah, I mean they're all okay really compared to Demons. That was not okay. That was tight, for want of another word.
Any more questions? Over there.
Have you got a favourite episode in terms of production that was most fun to make, or best location for one episode?
Favourite episode, yeah. I enjoyed the arrival of Ace to sort of as a juxtaposition with Smeghead Rimmer. That was a good. We had the best wig that day. That was the best Ace wig that show. Series 4, I think it was, Dimension Jump. And in terms of sets and things, I mean, we've always Red Dwarf doesn't have glamorous locations. We go to sort of Sunbury pumping station. It's always in the winter to aid Roberts in a temperature. Yeah, look, we did some great locations. Really, the studio stuff was always good. I missed out in Series 7. They had a tank involved. That would have been quite fun. But Real Beach in the E-Type. When I'm with Magruder in the E-Type, and so there's only one thing missing, and the furry dice appear. That was quite a good day. That was quite good fun.
Do we have any more questions?
And what was your favourite plot line from Red Dwarf? So you've gone all over, you've done all sorts, but what was one of the most fun to act out?
Sorry, my favourite
plot line for one of the Red Dwarf episodes.
Plot line, yeah. Probably the other show that I say was one of my favourite episodes was Marooned in Series 3, and that was basically Lister and Rimmer surviving together, and it was a bit like a two-hand stage play, actually. Kat and Crichton had gone out into the wilderness. I think they had an easy week with lines that week, as we all do every now and then, depending on who's driving the story, which character's driving the story. But that was very definitely a Lister Rimmer show, and the sort of undulations of Rimmer saying, "Lister, you are more than a man in my books," and all this sort of stuff, and Rimmer sort of saying, "Oh yes, I was Alexander the Great's chief eunuch," and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I mean, so, and the camphorwood chest, and how Rimmer's, I guess, gets completely hellish for Rimmer as usual towards the end. So yeah, Marooned is one of my favourite plot lines, really. But there's so many great plots, really. I love the sort of series of 6. I love the specials. They've been great fun, great successful for us. But it's the series of 6 shows. Twentica was a good one. Lemon, some of the later ones have been good. Trojan, Officer Rimmer was a great one for Rimmer. So many fantastic shows. Crichton. That one's, I've got a bit of flack really from the modernists about that one, but I think I can see why. Meltdown, there's another one. Because of course, bearing in mind that we made this show, loads of the first 8 series back in the days before the awareness of, people taking offence at various things. A lot of the stuff you look at now and think, wow, did they actually make, not much in Red Dwarf, but some stuff, and Meltdown is probably one of them, and Crikey TV is probably another one. But they've all been great fun to me. Stasis Leak was not one of my favourite. I kept losing the plot there on that one. That was probably just me. But it's difficult. I mean, they've all been great. It's difficult to sort of pick out, really. I'm nitpicking, really. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. I've really got the old bullshitter mode on today, haven't I? I mean, I'm answering these questions. Craig could be sitting there and saying, "Chris, you can answer that question in a sentence, man." I probably could, yeah, but I'm enjoying talking today.
Don't worry, we've still got time for a few more, I believe. So, have we got any more?
Did you did you have any favourite sub-characters, that whether it were one of the machines or anything like that? And with the machines, for example, was it just a guy in a box doing the voice, or was it added in afterwards?
What, you mean things like Talkie Toaster?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Talkie Toaster would be done live in the studio by whoever is voicing it. I think the last outing for Talkie was with David Ross. And I think whether he was down the line, he might have been down the line actually, technology being what it is. That was, I think, in Promised Land. But yeah, I mean, it's usually going to be an actor in and out in the clobber for that particular character. But yeah, sometimes you're wondering how's this going to work out with the machine, but it's so well designed and written that it always works out quite well. But visual effects, special effects in the show have been a big part of it, right from series 1. So, we've been very fortunate to have some of the best vis effects designers and operators, in TV. You go back to, things like Doctor Who, right at the beginning. Peter Ragg was one of the first, absolutely brilliant guy. And of course, we do like to try and do our own stunts, particularly Craig, who could be, he could be a stunt man anyway, some of the stuff he's done on the show. But yeah, it's all been great fun. But the Scutters have been hit and miss, let's just say, Back in the early episodes, my abiding sort of, memory of a Scutter is sort of, basically we're waiting for it to enter, and of course we don't see it enter at all, and we hear that sound that you probably remember from a a racing car, a Skeletric set, or a train set where there's just a noise coming from a stationary machine, vehicle, car, train on the line. And the scuttle was the same, just this noise coming from it. And then the smell of smoke. And then Peter Ragg in the corner saying, "Oh, Chris, I can't do anything about it. I can't do anything about it." So, happy days. So the scutters, but very often they worked. They get bad publicity, these scutters, but from people like me. A lot of the time they worked. But, sometimes the radio control was a bit hit and miss.
I think we have time for one more question, if we have any.
Hi. One of my favourite scenes that I remember from Red Dwarf is the tongue-tied sequence.
Where are you? Oh, there you are. Sorry, you're right behind the camera.
So one of my favourite scenes was the tongue-tied sequence. So I just wondered how you felt filming that.
The tongue-tied sequence. Well, the tongue-tied sequence obviously was the cat's one of his big moments. And I think Craig and I were kind of thinking, we're not very good at dancing, but yet we're here supporting the cat. And yeah, I mean, look, you can probably see from the way we're dancing, Craig and I, that we're not amazing natural dancers. And the interesting thing about tongue-tied is the choreographer, it's a great song. Danny performs it brilliantly, but we did seem to spend an inordinate amount of time rehearsing that song and not the other 24 minutes of the show. And I think at one point Ed Bye, the director, sort of came in and sort of said, "Can I have these actors, please? We need to rehearse the rest of the show, And Charles Organs, the choreographer, was saying, "One more time, two people have to, they're a bit slow on the uptake here." And I don't know who he was referring to, but yeah, it was good fun, it was great. Another great plot line, great sequence. And it's difficult for me to watch, though. Those pink outfits, they were quite comfortable. Well, that was the most comfortable thing about it, the outfits. I'm afraid the dancing was a bit, in my, from speaking for my own dancing, a bit pony. So we're there.